Hey guys, it's Dan, and I am back with another season of the MDL. So we're just going to dive straight into the week 1 matchup. This week we're going up against Hector, and the 6 he's brought look pretty much like what I expected, so I'm just going to go with my standard lead. I expect his best offensive options to be Crit Kiss or set up Blastoise. So this Rotom Curum set really covers a lot of the options. So we're just gonna go ahead and dive straight into it. He's also locked in pretty quickly as well. So going into this set, I think he's got 2 main offensive modes that I feel pretty comfortable with, but this is not one I expected with the Togekiss Darmanitan. So my thoughts here is that this is either going to be Banded or Scarf Darmanitan, which shouldn't take out the Rotom right away if it gets protected. But this Togekiss, I'm pretty certain it's going to be Yachi Berry, otherwise it has an issue with Curum. It looks like the way he's positioning it is much more defensive. So I think an Electro Web and actually a Max Steel Spike into the Togekiss is going to be just about what the doctor ordered for this set. So let's go ahead and see how that works out. But yeah, I'm Steel Spiking the Togekiss because I assume it's Yachi, because it really needs to be in this particular matchup, just looking at it on paper and through testing. Otherwise, this Curum is just a little too good for it in the matchup, and if I can get some advantage rolling that way, that's going to be very good for me in the long run. So this turn we do see the Togekiss is going to follow me, which means it is not the offensive max one. And the Darmanitan Belly Drums, which is not something I expected because Guerrilla Tactics, but I guess it's using the Zen Mode ability, which is going to get triggered by this Electro Web, which does chunk it. I do get the crit on it, don't pick it up. If I used Glaciate this turn, it would have gone down, which was my initial plan, but it seemed better. So I think he's about to heal himself, and he just had the wrong EVs. But the speed goes up with the Salac Berry, and then this reveals that it's the Beery Berry, and I am suddenly in some danger because the Togekiss survives when I thought it would be going down. The Rotom's defense goes up, but that's a +6 Darmanitan, and it's activated Zen mode. So I'm quickly going to Cerebi at this point, because I have no idea what the stats on Zen mode Darmanitan are, and I am in danger, because this Curum is maxed, and so it can take out the Rotom without much fear. And then after it takes out the Rotom, because the Curum will be redirected into the Togekiss, it'll have a speed advantage on a lot of things. So the fact that Rotom is the only thing with spread out right now is really bad for me. And then I see that his speed didn't fall. So in my head I'm like, oh, he was White Herb, because a lot of things happened at once. That last turn I assumed White Herb instead of Salac Berry. I was just scrambling to check notes on it, so I didn't see that it was Salac Berry. I see that the stat didn't fall, so I assume White Herb, and that's going to inform some of my play for game 2. But he hits an Icicle Crash. Takes out the Rotom. And then I'm getting redirected into the Togekiss, which I Hailstormed into thinking that there was a chance he switched it out, but Steel Spike is probably better to give myself another defense boost to maybe survive something from this thing, but its attack stat goes up to like 160 or something ridiculous, so I'm not going to be surviving something from it if it hits with neutral damage. So I've got to send up Zamazenta, and it is not the fastest Zamazenta in the world, which is going to be an issue because this +6 Darmanitan might be able to take it out if it's faster, because Darmanitan's speed goes up to base 135 when it's in Zen mode, which is a big problem for me. So now I have to decide what I think he's going to do with the Comfey. I think I'm going to try and cover 2 plays here. Ally switch and a floral healing. So if he ally switches and takes out the Kyurem, which is why I think he would ally switch, then I'm going to close combat that slot. If he goes for the floral healing, I'm going to max steel spike the Darmanitan slot, because that's the reason I would think for him to floral healing. So I'm going to lose something this turn, but I will be in a 2v2 with not the best position in the world, especially if it's the Kyurem that goes out, but I should be in a 2v2 this turn. So the Darm maxes. And he goes for the floral healing play, so I assume this Samazenta is going to go down. And then I'll be able to take it out with the Steel Spike. He goes for Max Quake, which will give him +1 special defense. I still think a Steel Spike should take it out, but I'm less confident when that happens. But the range it is, with how invested this Kyurem is, I feel really good about these odds, and then late game I think I should be fine, but it survives on what looks like 1 HP, and then suddenly I am in a world of trouble, because this Kyurem's max ends even at +2, he can just take it out, and then Primarina doesn't have a move that after floral healing will be able to take out this Darmanitan at +1 special defense, and he probably just max Quakes to go up to +2 special defense. In fact, max Quaking the Primarina is actually probably the best play here, but I decided to go for the Hyper Voice in case he does try to ally switch. I'm pretty sure I'm just playing for him to make a mistake at this point in this game. So Flash Cannon's gonna come out into the Darmanitan. Hopefully I survive something and I'm able to take it out, but the Floral Healing comes in. The Snowman bounces angrily and it max Quakes. And the max Quake goes into the Primarina because it knows it survives a Flash Cannon at +2 because it just survived a max Steel Spike at +1. So yeah, I'm going to lose this game to a Giant Snowman. It is a really cool set, but I am planning some things for Game 2, and I'll let the rest of this game play out, and then I will be right back for Game 2. So, moving into Game 2, my plan is a lead with the Stoutland to intimidate and trigger his White Herb. Then Rotom can Electro Web it down, and then the Zamazenta will be able to come in and clean it up. At least that's the plan at this point. And Stoutland has the added ability of, with Electro Web, it could take out certain Togekiss sects, because it has the Wild Charge on it. Although leading with Kyurem and using Glaciate could potentially work as well if he pivots into a Blastoise lead that looks a bit more suspect for me. So this should cover for both potential leads. Also consider a Sableye lead to fake out and then just try and light it up. but that really doesn't work if he has a double protect game 1 or turn 1, and that's not really a risk I'm willing to take. So this just seems like my most consistent option. Get the white-haired out of the way, then lower its speed, and then I'll be able to clean it up in the back, which is a lot of work to go into one thing here. So yeah, we're going right into the game, and first of all, this is just a really cool set from Hector. I've never really seen this kind of Darm set before, so I didn't have much for it in prep, and I have to say it is absolutely phenomenal. But go ahead and moving into the game, White Herb doesn't trigger, and I realized, oh no, I goofed, that must have been Salic Berry, so I have to audible. My first thought is I can keep Darmanitan in the wrong form, potentially, by doubling into this Togekiss, because his Belly Drum doesn't take him into Zen mode form, and that feels like the play at this point, and this has the potential to take out this Togekiss even with a max Airstream, because I double-checked, I'm like, why didn't White Herb trigger? Right, Salic Berry. So I consider Electro Webbing here, but that would just be bad. So instead, I'm just going to Airstream the Togekiss, which should give me the speed advantage against this Darmanitan. And that's just about all I can ask for, is to get some kind of speed advantage here. Because this is looking not great. Togekiss uses Follow Me, and Belly Drum goes off. Okay, so he will not trigger Zen mode this turn. So let's go ahead and get the Airstream up, get my speed advantage. Wild Charge probably doesn't KO at this range, but having that speed was important and worth the risk given the mistake I made up to this point in the game, but no, Togekiss survives the Wild Charge. And now I have decisions to make, because if I attack into this Darm and it triggers, I'm going to have an issue. The play here is... what I do is not the correct play, and I'm pretty confident in saying that, because I should be thinking, obviously, that he's going to want to take out the Rotom here, because the Rotom is what's going to have the speed to kill it. But I think there's a chance that he tries to switch out this Togekiss, and I might just be able to get a double up off of it, because he tries to keep the Togekiss alive, assuming I'm going to target into that slot. But that was a bad play on my part. The play here is take out the Togekiss with a max Airstream, or take out the Togekiss with a Wild Charge and protect the Rotom. But if the Togekiss protects, I lose there too. So it's not a guaranteed best play there, but based on what he played, that would have worked out best, and I probably should have assumed a play similar to this. Because now there's speed advantage. I do not have After You on the Stoutland, so I can't use that for nonsense, and Wild Charge is not doing nearly enough damage to threaten this thing. Because even through max with the Yachi Berry, this is going to take out the Rotom. And we know how this Stomping Dance goes, because now Stoutland is the only thing with the speed advantage, and it doesn't actually threaten this Darmanitan, even when it changes forms into that low defense form. So now he can just one-shot everything on my team and ignore Stoutland, and I can't really stop him from doing that. Because now his Zen mode is up, he will be outspeeding this Zamazenta. I also could have Helping Handed with the Stoutland, let Zen mode stay down, and then get Zamazenta in to be faster than it. but that was a really counterintuitive play I didn't think of in the time, in the moment. So yeah, this is looking not great for me. My outs here are basically if he misplays and targets the Stoutland for whatever reason. Kyurem comes on out. You know, the Kyurem doesn't do nearly enough to this thing, especially if he floral healings, but maybe if I can get a miss target and buy Zamazenta a turn, especially if I can get his floral healing. You know, that's probably a play I should have gone for. Try and get him to floral healing his Darmanitan into the slow form again. Instead of trying to take it out, I should have gone for the Comfey, because I'm never doing enough here. But Glaciate here to lower its speed would make sense. Flash Cannon into the Comfey makes sense, but I'm just scrambling at this point and not really thinking of what I'm not coming up with my best options then, even though I am coming up with some now. So I'm running low on time, trying to figure out what the best option is. And I decide that going for the speed drop with the Glaciate, if I can somehow survive, is the play. But he's just going to take out the Kyurem here, and then because I wild charged the Darm, it's not going to revert out of Zen mode. But Zen mode mechanics I'm not super familiar with, so I didn't know it would, but after the battle, I figured that out. And that actually would have given me a shot. This play, however, reduces any shot that I have because the Darm goes back into Zen mode range, so it doesn't revert. I wasn't sure if it could revert or not, but it does revert later in this battle. But that's basically going to wrap it up for me, because all he has to do is target the Zamazenta now that he's faster than it, and Stoutland's never going to 1v3 or 1v2 against this team, even if I could get a crit or something to stop this Darm. I think my best shot here is if he somehow mistargets the Stoutland and I just kill it with the Zamazenta. That's going to be my best play, but he will not do that, and I will just let the rest of this game play out. But Hector's going to lock up this game in a 2-0. So this was a really fun set, even though I didn't come close to winning. I had more outs than I thought I did in the moment, but I just couldn't figure out a way to beat this thing at +6. I did have a way, and it turns out I was not familiar enough with the Zen mode mechanic to figure it out, but in the future I'll have that in my toolbox moving forward if I ever face a Zen mode Darmanitan again. But good games to Hector. This was a really fun set. I am a huge fan of the giant snowman, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the rest of this MDL season brings. But until next time, I will see you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy these videos. Bye.